she has potential to make space. And I think that's the greatest thing she can bring to our profession.
What she meant by it was that we were facilitating for these like group things for some of the research that she was doing, and so just making sure that everyone had a voice to speak but also felt like they would be heard when they spoke. There's a discrepancy in mostly STEM fields and in engineering classes. It can be depending on recitations how a male might feel more comfortable speaking in a room or like in a group forum discussion.
So it was rough in the 80s. It was rough for women, and it was rough for students of color. And I really want to expand this beyond women. There's a lot of different kinds of women, and the intersectionalities of identities are very important. And as we move from the 80s to now, there have been significant gains, and but it's primarily for dominant paradigm women. That is, women who also identify as white and having access to money and resources and educational opportunities.
Like a woman being an engineer, like whatever, it's not really a big deal. I mean, like I know in a cultural context, like it is something that we're trying to push for, but in my household, like my dad was always like, you should be an engineer growing up because he's a civil engineer, and my oldest sister is a chemical engineer, actually from Oregon State. And so for me to go into engineering, I was like, okay, well, if this is what I really want to do, it's no big deal. As long as I want it, then that's what I'm going to do.
You know, like the experience I had with the engineering professor, my first engineering professor, who really didn't think women belonged in engineering. And he wasn't saying that to be malicious. It was his true thought. It was the cultural ideology of the day that these were not positions meant for women. Things have shifted, you know, and things are different here.
It's more than just women in STEM. I think it also filters down to just like women in sports and equality. I mean, it's all about, at the end of the day, equity between male and female treatment. If I have girls and if they choose to do a STEM field, I don't want them to go to a university that's gonna give them those pressures and make them being a student harder. And I was like, what path can I take in order to kind of do what she's doing in terms of with her research and trying to figure out ways to make colleges do more ethics and have these discussions? Is there another way to go besides maybe doing like these little things with academia and classes? And she's like, I have no idea because it hasn't been done before.